Hello, welcome back to Leith Central. Just going to give you a quick pre-Christmas update, just some bits of stock and also how building progressing, starting on the station building. The baseboards are now on order, so the first of them should be arriving sometime early in the new year, so we can actually get down to actually building something of substance. But to start with these are the Harbour Hobbies limited edition salt wagons from Bachmann. I've managed to collect all 7 of them up now. I will find some excuse to run these on the layout in due course. Haven't thought of any ideas yet. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know. I know the LGW ones lasted into the blue diesel era, but not by much. But we'll find some way of getting them onto the layout at some point, because there's just nice wagons, nice local wagons, and collecting up some local stock there. Also got the full collection of the Bachmann released 35-ton grain hoppers. Looking at the new set that's due to come out with the Class 20 with digital sound, that's pondering whether it will go DCC with the layout. Looking into getting that set. But we'll have a look at some other new arrivals with the run up to Christmas. My family just generally pulls stuff direct to me, so it just comes out of a Happens box, and I'm not sure if it's something I've ordered or something they've ordered. So we'll take a look at what's arrived over the past month.
It's going to be an out and back all day trip apparently. So presumably they'll sort of take water halfway at Dundee or something. Whether they'll go over I suppose they'll go over the Tay Bridge unless they go up by Stirling. It should be quite popular, I think. They're always a bit fussy what goes over the Tay Bridge now, so for axleway. Well, exactly. So
Before I start on the Christmas arrivals, this is a fairly recent arrival, the Bachmann Class 37 37099 in colourless livery. A bit modern for my era, but this is a local got a soft spot for. There's a giant nameplates on it with the Welsh Dragon, and also the interesting front end detail of the high intensity headlight being in a different position. This loco is actually out filming this one today, which will be on an update later on the channel. Out on test train duty, so that'll be paired with another colourless 37 with some test train stock, which will be one I'll occasionally use on the layout as well. Basically looking at just sort of like trains that I've liked and modelling specific trains as well. Also on that shelf there you'll see some kit built wagons that I've done, some VEA vans, 3 different liveries there, the 2 rail freight ones and the MOD rail freight, and also the large ballast hopper based off the sea lion, sea cow sort of style thing. I think the actual name escapes me right now. That's I think that was one of the first kits I actually built. Just weather that down, just use it for experimenting with weathering, and we're actually quite happy with how that's looking at the moment. So we'll look at getting some weight into that and getting it on into one of the engineering trains that go in and taking the disused line out on the layout. So here's 2 of the recent arrivals. These are the only actual stock items that have been part of the recent arrivals. First is from my brother, thanks Matty for that one. It's a blue-grey XLMS full brake parcels van. You see the code and the number there. Quite an interesting model. That was the blue sole bar, makes it stand out against other stuff. And like the Mark ones, that'd be black. So that'll be interspersed with any parcel sets I eventually run on the layout, so it's a nice little addition. And the other one, this one actually ordered myself, Bachmann ZTO brake van. in the engineer's livery, because as I said, there'll be propelling movements on the layout of engineers' trains, so we're going to need the old propelling van. So that one seemed to fit the thing. That's the code and the actual, all the details there if you're thinking of ordering that model for yourself. Weathered edition from Bachmann. That was again from, as I said, I think both of them came from Hatton, so that was, as I said, we know the price increases recently, but still I think that was now under a tenner in their bargain list. That's why I ended up ordering that one. I do quite fancy the grey and red version as well. I might get around to ordering that one as well. So that's the recent stock arrivals. Still in the boxes, haven't been out of the boxes yet, but once we've got some sort of tractor on them on, which we'll get to soon, we'll have a quick shunt around with them at some point.
Wait, are we going out tonight?
Yes.
Where?
That's why you got to change the
I wasn't sure if I should do a dress or a skirt or something with leggings. Oh, where am I?
As I said, there has been quite a few new arrivals, most of them road vehicles. Most of these picked up at Falkirk Model Show exhibition, which you'll have already seen in between the shots. There's a couple of layouts from Falkirk Model Show exhibition. I was a bit pushed for time in the time I was there. We're getting around the traders and looking at the layouts, so I didn't get much filming done there, so I've interspersed that with this video. So let's just take a look at what we've actually got here. This one's a Lothians area dustbin wagon. I just thought it's a nice little model. It'll be an interesting thing to have on the street. A little bit old for era modelling, but still Edinburgh-based vehicle, and as you saw with the Leith things, I like collecting the local things. And a Glasgow-based Ford and tanker. And then some buses from that I know have been seen in Edinburgh, some of them definitely within the era of modelling. First one here, the Edinburgh Coach Lines, Edinburgh Transport Optare, and then two Alexandra Wise, one in Eastern Scottish, one in Lothian Transport. Let's say both there, one heading towards Edinburgh, the other one on a local route. And then at the back here, we've got the SMT in the SMT heading for Haddington, the Bristol VR from Lowland Scottish on the 62 Gala Shields, Lothian buses, but I think that's a Mark 2, I'm not sure on that, I can't remember the type of that one off the top of my head. I'm not that up on sort of like the details of the bus things, I'm just looking at the local liveries. I'm slowly learning with the new stuff that's coming in, and like so we've got some triaxle double deckers that we'll be having a look at in January. Get out and film some of them to go on the channel. So that's on the 16, which works up, the current 16 works up Leith walks, so that'd be a good one to have on the model. And also Mac tours, which like right up until I think it was last year, we're running vintage bus tours around Edinburgh. This one I never actually saw myself, the full enclosed Bristol low decker in that livery, but it's still a nice bus. And I had a look online. I picked up, I think that one and a couple of the two Eastern Scottish ones and the Edinburgh Transport one. I think I picked them up for all about £7 each off one stall. He was doing a discount on the EFE buses and the original omnibuses range, so I picked up a few of them. And I think in total that shelf there cost me around £70 just for that shelf. So that's not a bad amount of vehicles for that price, considering today's prices. So I'll see if I can look up the name of that retailer. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description. But I don't think I've got his card still. But still, good. It's always worth rummaging through at exhibitions and knowing what operators operate in your area to try and get vehicles that suit your layout. Now I mentioned actually getting trains up and running. This is a sports shelf, just like it's got. You see, it's got me stock and bits and pieces and books and things on it at the moment. But what I'm planning on doing is I've actually got a set on order as well, which will just have an analog controller on it. So initially what I'll do is, because I'm planning on using medium-sized points on the layout, I won't be actually using the points on most of the set track out of the set. It'll be a case of just the controller and the actual stock out of it will be used on the layout eventually. So I'm planning on setting up a little shunting model on top of here, just a little test track, and so I can actually move stock around and show you any new stock I get running over a short distance at least, until the main layout is up and running and functional. So that should be coming in on stream on the new year as well. That's just just some of the Bachmann 13-ton opens there. Started weathering them, and they're going to be used in the demolition train, because I've got, I think it's 9 of them now, including the limited edition weathered ones and the limited edition engineers ones that were released, I think, by Kernow. So there's a good rake of 9 or 10 of them that will be used as part of the demolition train. Right, so on to what actual building work has gone on over this month. This is the initial station building design build that can be done as an independent diorama. The first thing I did was get some of the main structural walls designed and built. This isn't all this. All the main exterior walls, so the extension bit that go there with the archway is also built. That's in the same condition as this bit here. I thought it'd be a good point to show you basically the way they go through the construction phases, as there's bits at different levels. But first of all, this base here that's just a thin sheet of plasticard with the Metcalfe paving slabs on it. And then that actually came in handy, and then on the inside we've got painted plasticard base of the same thickness to provide the internal floors, which is just painting a base coat at the moment. And this piece here is the most furthest progressed, which we'll get to in a minute, which has just had its first coats of undercoat put onto it in places where it will be, will have fully functioning interiors. I'm thinking of going with blue and cream for the interior, similar to our Scottish region's totems. That way it'll look like it hasn't been painted in a while, so it'll be sort of like in all the livery, sort of like where they haven't done a full refurb on the station yet, so it'll be still in like 60s, 70s paint schemes, but with more modern signage. But what we'll do now is we'll have a look at the actual exterior walls and how they start. So what it is, the main face is cut out of a thin sheet of plasticard, and then around the edge is the 3.2 structural pieces, and then around where there's going, because this is going to have some archway. I'm actually decided just to go with one archway all the way through and put a window in here instead, which are from, I think it's the AB range, which I'll show you soon. Some additional little detailing parts that I didn't run through in the last video that have arrived for building the station. And then additional supporting and bracing for like round windows and stuff uses the 2mm square plastic. You can see the difference there on the bottom. So that's basically cut to shape, and as you can see the overlaps left around the edge for where you're joining pieces together. So that's the base form once it's got its ribbon onto it. The next stage I go to would be this one here, which is I lay out the windows on the inside. Lay out the windows with the 2mm frame, that's just for fitting the window frame in, and then I can fit the interior wall into that section there, just to make it all flush and look smart on the inside and the outside. So I can look at it fitting into like 3.2mm between the floors, just so I can allow it to run some wires in with a couple of bulbs in there to light the building up. So as you see, around the doors and around the window frames has the 2mm plastic 2mm plastic card strips. That's just to strengthen it up, and that way what I can do is I can lay out that, and as you can see it's all drawn on there. I can then cut the windows out with a solid brace there without having to try and get a ruler in around the original bracing, and it means that everything's correct to within the floor and it can look square from the outside. Next step is I'll move it over onto this one here, because most of the things are on this one here, but I can show you more detail on a smaller part. This part here actually has the Wills shop fronts, similar to some on the Leith. What I noticed there was in some of the photos you may have seen on the end of the last video, there was a step between the shop fronts and the actual main building wall. So I've modelled that here as just it's going to be two shops within the station, probably a WH Smith and I don't know, maybe a co-op or because a little like the BR buffet built into this area of the station, and they'll go right through onto the other side through there and over to the actual platform side as well, with probably the same style of fronts on the platform side, the other side of the main roof support wall. But to show you the actual sandwiching effect I've used, what I've done then is from the frame I showed you last, is I then fit a layer of the plastic embossed brick sheet over the top, and then that would be a full sheet, and then using the holes that are already cut in the white plastic card, cut the holes in the brick. And as you can see with this one, what I've done is I've actually used some pieces of offcut to cover it fully after covering the main piece behind it there. I then fit the Wills window frames. That one there, just a standard flat window frames. I've got some more just arrived, so I can complete these two pieces and have them ready for undercut. The other thing I do at this point is on the exterior doors, I'd fit the doors, because I'm either going to leave these green or fit them in blue. I've not, and then what I've done is on the inside of them is I've then taken some of the 2mm just strip, like the thin strip, and then put a door frame onto it on the inside. I mean, the door's only detailed on one side, but that gives some sort of effect on the inside for when lights are on in the building. As you see, this is a slightly different floor layout, where what I've also done is I've fitted the floor support beams in the 2mm plastic card. There'll be a vertical wall here, and you can see how the Wills things cover the holes and give a framing around to fix the window frames and the glazing in place. So the next step is to paint them up before I get the clear sheets and the window frames. The window frames I'm going to paint separately, probably white, and then the clear sheet fitted in the back, just in from behind there, before I fit any interior effects on the windows. On areas where there isn't any actual white bracing on the windows, I've moved on to, this is actually going to be the main ticket office inside the station, which has an exterior wall which will have archway into the main building. So that's actually been started painting, and what I'm using for that is the rail match stone paints, and also one I find a very good match for Edinburgh stone is one I found by accident from doing one of my helicopter models. Is this is actually an extra decal khaki, you know, for like Desert Storm. Found mixing that with the weathered stone gets a good effect. For what I've done is just alternated coats at the moment to get a good base, which is what this is in now. If I show you to the light there, so there's still a bit of sheen on that. I'll mount varnish over the top of it eventually. But now what I'll go around and do is paint individual bricks and bring up them window frames into the right colours. Because what I've noticed is the window frames and the door frames on the externals of Edinburgh buildings tend to hold their colour better than the actual stonework does. The stonework always appears a little bit darker in places, especially so there'll be dark washes over there, maybe sleeper grime, a little bit of black, some greys, and just put some definition into the bricks, because those you can see what I mean now. That's had 3 coats, and the embossness of the brick is still showing through really well. There's and it shows really. And the other thing I've done on this one is I've started painting the interior. That's had a coat of grey undercoat, as you can see on the 2 top floors there, and then the first coat of matte white. Yeah, you could just paint straight onto the plain plastic and just take the dullness off it, but I thought I'll just make sure we get a good matte finish there, so a bit coat of undercoat, and then a couple of top coats of white. And then what I'm going to do is going to use some of the 2mm strip to fit what would be a wooden band around here. Paint that into either a midnight blue or a Scottish region blue, and fit that around the edge just to give some definition to that. There's also going to be, this is going to be sort of the main ticket desk, so there's going to be a desk fitted on top of there. That's all going to be built from plastic card around the floor, and then put the furniture into that room. And then once that's in, I'll fit the lower part of the floor with the holes in, get a grain of wheat bulb fitted. What I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to drill a hole through there in this building, because as you can see here from the mark there, the main chimney stack for this building will run down that corner there. That's the next step I'm going to go to here, is getting that chimney stack built so I can actually get my holes drilled for fitting all the wires into this piece of the building, so that one can be wired up and lit. And then also I've also undercoated the end, which has had the same treatment. This is left flat here because there's going to actually be a lean on sort of bus shelter that's actually built in the similar sort of shape to the travel shop on Waverley Bridge, so that's going to be fitted onto the end there. That's just a little bit of an extra project I'm working on separately, that's down in the box down here, which has got all the other parts in. This is what I found is a good thing, is keeping the bottoms of the Airfix boxes, the strong corrugated bottoms. That way I can keep all the parts for the building together. That's like the extra archway for the front, which is at an early stage. Also there's the extra footpath in there. This will be eventually where the top fits. Like what I've done is, as I've got towards the end of a plastic card sheet and I've had some offcuts left, is any bits I could build out of the offcuts I've built as I've had the offcuts, so I don't have a lot of spare pieces of plastic card lying around. Then just put them into this box, noted down what they are, and then I know which parts have got built. Like there's also down here is where the cut is on this part. There I've already built the door and window frame to go across the diagonal inside there. So as I've had spare pieces of plastic card, spare pieces of strip, I've knocked out a couple of small pieces from the pieces I had. That way you don't have as many offcuts lying around, and there's something to keep you interested while you're waiting for a trip down the model shop or anything to arrive via post. I'm actually waiting for, because Wonderland, because of all this I've built, Wonderland and Harbour Hobbies are now completely out of the 3.2mm and 2mm strip. So I believe Wonderland will get some more of them in. We're supposed to be getting some more in this week, so we might give them a nip down tomorrow and get some more, so I can carry on with the build. As you can see, it has affected the movement on my helicopter, which was just requiring a couple of bits fitting and transfers. That's now had final paint and should be all up and completed to show you next time as a completed model. The other thing I've been doing is I had an old EFE bus, so I've just been experimenting with the paints I bought for the tram, making sure I had the right maroon, and this is basically going to be a test vehicle for repaints and seeing what paint actually looks like once it's applied to a model. So that side of the bus is currently in pseudo Lothian livery as I prepare and move on with the tram. There's been a little bit of movement on the Edinburgh tram, just a little bit of painting here and there and a couple of internal seats fitted, but not much of that, with most of the focus being on building these bits of building. As I mentioned, the Edinburgh Waverley Bridge travel shop, this is a stylised version of it. There's going to be a double door in there, as you can see, like what I was meaning about fitting the internal walls and then cutting out. That's done in exactly the opposite way to the externals are, only it's cut back through before the fitment of the exterior, which is how it was done with this one. Is the interior wall was fitted as one sheet and then the holes cut out from the opposing side. Apart from that bottom section there, which I did as independent offcuts, this section here is made up of offcuts, whereas this upwards is all one sheet, just to give some strength to the upper floors. And also you can see there, like the floor support ribs in place for the roof, the first and second floors, and as I say, with the thickness of that piece of plastic there, providing the space for wiring and stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so the actual base of the floors is liftable out, so none of the furniture will be glued to both the floor and the wall. It'll be glued, it'll make it so I can basically take the front away, so if that's in place, like if I have an issue within the building, that'd be in place there. That'd be held in place with like double-sided sellotape or something, and I can just take the front of the building away, and I'd be able to pull out the floor, pull out the top level of the floor, look into the wiring and find any issues that way. So basically making it collapsible so any faults can be gotten to. And once it's up and running solidly, I may glue it together, but just so that's for fault access. As you see, internally I've also cut them doors there, so you can go between the areas of the floor. The idea is to put a fully detailed interior in, as I mentioned before. We'll see how we get on with that. I might get frustrated with it and end up just putting one light in the top. But as for now, it's going to be at least the ground floor will be definitely detailed. So you can get down at street level when I'm taking pictures of like my buses and my lorries and my cars on the roadway, or I've got engines sat at the buffer stops that I'm taking shots of. You can, or people are looking at. You can see through into the ground floors and see the things inside the building. So that's basically where we're at the moment with Leith Central. There's another thing that's worth doing is all your design models and stuff. All that paperwork I showed you last time is now all in this easy little sheet, and that's being kept with the pieces. Also, the foldable map of the station. That's how that folds up into just an A4 size. As you see, that's got all my measurements on it, all my little doodles and stuff, the pavement layout, and that's what the actual sheet here is based off. These little self-adhesive pieces from Metcalfe are great. It's the only card I've used in the building, but that was just to save on cost really, and save cutting out of Will's sheets, because these are all individually fitted, and then ones I was cutting in half I was finding I could move them around and use them elsewhere. It's also meant I could get it so like you could have alignment around the corners, and also making it fit what would be the most sensible pattern where I was going to have to do a join anyway. So I've used them card ones there. I decided they were the best option, and they do give a really good effect. What I'm going to do is the edges of them sheets are self-adhesive, so any curves you've got like that there isn't a piece in the sheet for it, you can actually cut that out of the support sheet. So I need to do that for that corner and some trimming up going down, which I'll do with a compass, draw a line on, and then I'll trim that away with a knife and maybe file them down a little bit. That's on the tools and equipment front. This is my detailing toy chest, my painting and plastic building toy chest, which lives on top of my desk because I'm mostly building in plastic. These I can't recommend enough. They're great. These little needle files. They're a Revel product. Great for getting in on plastic models, getting off swarf, and I use them for filing around the windows on the model. Cheap poster paint. It's always handy having them if you're painting a wide area. Like I'll use them for base coats on road. The ubiquitous Humbrol primer. Good range of brushes there, like flat brushes, thin, like very fine brushes. Two different stand knives, one for heavier cutting, and then my little flick extender. That's considering how the blades are on there, that's lasted me a good couple of years. That I've had that since I re-picked up modelling the fixed models, and that's still going strong. And I'm not even halfway through the blades, so they're a good little cheap toys. PVA, we'll need plenty of that in the model. Just chalks and pens, pencils, rulers. Then it's always worth keeping an eye out on your local, especially around the back to school time, picking up like little sets like these with the compass and set squares and things. And having a couple of them around is always handy with the models. I use this one specifically for setting the angles on my rotor blades for helicopters. That's mainly where that's come in handy, and also for some of the angles on the building. That's helped me out as well. These are the transfers for the helicopter, as mentioned. It's going into that search and rescue. It's like mainly because of this big transfer on the bottom, so that'll be in the next update. Is all them will be fitted to this helicopter, and that will be all set up. The plans is still to run the Westland, basically the Westland Company train on the layout, so we'll get to that. But that's just a quick Christmas update for you. Also, what I've done is all my wheel stuff is now in drawers, so that's all the different parts and everything else split up. I had some new wheels stuff arrive, like the corner pieces. They're just for joining pieces together and stuff, so I thought I'd get some of them while I had some of the run. I think they went off the run like £1 or something. Said doors, windows, as you've seen, you might just be able to see there my new arch windows for the front of the building, because inside the industrial curved arch windows were a little small, so I got some of them big ones. I think they're from AB Hattons, just listed under the accessories tub, and they're actually laser cut from wood, but a couple of coats of white acrylic, and they'll look bang on the model. So I'll leave you for now, so enjoy your Christmas, and there'll be a update hopefully with a baseboard and some track arrived in the new year sometime. So enjoy your Christmas and your new year, and I'll see you sometime in 2019. Bye.